Blizzard just hinted at adding more Torment tiers to Diablo 4. Right now we have 4. They're talking about potentially adding 6 more, maybe even 10 total. This isn't confirmed yet, but senior devs Colin and Savan brought it up in recent interviews, and it got me thinking, why would they do this? What problems does it solve? And more importantly, how could this actually make the game better? Today I'm breaking down the current Torment problems, explaining why more tiers make sense, and pitching some ideas for how Blizzard could turn this into genuine endgame progression. The current problem, massive difficulty spikes. Let me explain what's wrong with the current Torment system. Right now we have 4 Torment tiers: Torment 1, Torment 2, Torment 3, Torment 4. And the jump between each tier is massive, like really massive. The difficulty scaling between Torment tiers is roughly 10 times. Torment 1 to Torment 2, enemies are 10 times stronger. Torment 2 to Torment 3, another 10 times. Torment 3 to Torment 4, another 10 times. By the time you're in Torment 4, monsters have literally billions or even trillions of HP compared to where you started. This creates a progression curve that looks like a staircase with massive steps. You hit level 60, you enter Torment 1, difficulty feels okay. You gear up, get stronger, everything gets easier. Then you jump to Torment 2, and suddenly there's a brick wall. Enemies are way harder. You struggle for a bit. You get more gear, more Paragon, you get stronger again. Then you hit Torment 3, another brick wall, same cycle. Then Torment 4, final brick wall. And then what happens? You plateau. Torment 4 is the last difficulty tier for open world content. There's nowhere higher to go. So once you're comfortable in Torment 4, the game gets easier and easier and easier forever. You get stronger, but enemies don't scale anymore. Eventually, veteran players with good builds are one-shotting everything. Belial dies in seconds. Torment 4 becomes trivial. This creates 2 major problems. Problem 1, the jumps between Torments are so massive that you need equally massive power spikes to progress. You need items that give you 2 times, 3 times, 10 times, even 20 times. Damage multipliers just to handle the next Torment tier. This is why Paragon boards have become pure damage multipliers instead of interesting utility nodes. It's why unique items are designed to give insane multipliers. The scaling demands it. Problem 2, once you reach the plateau in Torment 4, the only thing that matters is speed. Faster clear speed, faster movement, faster everything. This kills build diversity. Why play Double Swing Barbarian or Twisting Blades Rogue when the meta demands builds that one-shot entire screens while teleporting 3 screens at a time? Slower builds have no reason to exist because there's no higher difficulty to push where their sustained damage would matter. Why More Torments solves this? Adding more Torment tiers solves both of these problems if done correctly. Let me explain how. Instead of 4 massive difficulty jumps, imagine 10 smaller jumps. Instead of 10 times scaling per tier, imagine 2 times scaling per tier. The progression curve becomes way smoother. You're not hitting massive brick walls every time. You're climbing a steady incline. This means you don't need items that give you 10 times damage multipliers just to progress. You can have more reasonable power gains. Items can be 20%, 30%, 50% upgrades instead of 500% upgrades. Paragon nodes can go back to being interesting utility choices instead of pure damage spam. The entire itemization system becomes healthier. But here's the bigger benefit. More Torment tiers means slower builds become viable again. Right now, Lightning Spear Sorcerer is weak, but if you can get it to a point where it comfortably farms Torment 4, it becomes the best build because it can one-shot everything and move fast. But what if there were Torment 5, 6, 7, 8? Suddenly, Lightning Spear might cap out at Torment 4 or 5. But Double Swing Barbarian can push to Torment 7 even though it's slower, and Torment 7 gives way better rewards. Now, Double Swing has a reason to exist. It trades speed for higher tier rewards. This is how you create build diversity, not by making everything move at the same speed, but by creating a difficulty curve where different builds find their optimal farming tier based on their strengths and weaknesses. What the new system could look like. Let me pitch some ideas for how this could actually work. These are just brainstorming concepts, but I think they show the potential. Let's say Blizzard adds 10 Torment tiers total, Torment 1 through Torment 10. And let's tie them to pit tiers for easy reference. Torment 1 unlocks at pit 10, Torment 2 at pit 20, Torment 3 at pit 30, all the way up to Torment 10 at pit 100. The scaling between tiers is now 2 times instead of 10 times. Way more manageable. The difficulty curve is smooth instead of jagged. You're not hitting massive walls, you're steadily climbing. But here's where it gets interesting. Content and rewards unlock as you progress through Torments. Not everything is available at Torment 1. You unlock things gradually. This creates actual progression milestones instead of just dumping everything on players the moment they hit level 60. Let me give you a concrete example of how this could work, tier by tier. Torment Progression. Tier by Tier Torment 1. This is where you start at level 60. The pit is available here. Basic crafting, basic vendors, basic systems. You can find common unique items, low-tier boss materials, standard stuff. Initiate tier bosses like Grégoire are available. These drop basic uniques that are fine for starting out, but not build-defining. Torment 2. Dark Citadel unlocks here. Not at Torment 1, at Torment 2. Why? Because new players don't need to be overwhelmed with every single endgame system the moment they hit level 60. Let them learn the basics first. Dark Citadel can wait a tier. Torment 3. Nightmare Dungeon Escalation unlocks here. Again, easing players into content instead of throwing everything at them at once. Maybe there's a priority quest that pops up the first time you enter Torment 3 that guides you to try escalation. You do it, you get a reward. You understand the system. Torment 4. Higher tier bosses unlock. Duriel and Dariel, Lord Zir. These are the bosses that drop powerful build-defining uniques. Things like Tasha's Ring, Fists of Fate, endgame chase items. These shouldn't be available at Torment 1. They should unlock later as progression milestones. This also solves a massive current problem. Right now, you can gamble Kepaleke on Spiritborn at Torment 1 and get a mythic tier item that gives you 10 times damage immediately. That's broken. Powerful items should come from progression, not from gambling. 500 Abducite 5 minutes after hitting level 60. Torment 5. The tower unlocks here. Tower is competitive endgame content with leaderboards. New players don't need that in Torment 1. Let them learn the game first. By Torment 5, they're experienced enough to understand what Tower is and why it matters. Legendary glyphs also start dropping at Torment 5. This creates a natural progression where you level normal glyphs first, and then legendary glyphs become your next goal. Torment 6. Belial unlocks here. Belial is the final boss right now, one of the hardest fights in the game. He should drop the absolute best unique items. Things like Nightbringer's Scythe for Necromancer that give insane multipliers. These top-tier uniques should require effort to access, not drop from random gambling or Torment 1 world bosses. Torment 7. This is where expansion content could unlock. New systems, new activities, whatever Blizzard adds in future expansions. Legendary tempering manuals also drop here. Up until Torment 7, you only get rare manuals. This creates another progression step. Torment 8. Special malignant elites spawn here. These are beefed up elite monsters with auras and special affixes, and they drop legendary gems based on old seasonal powers. Remember Season 1 malignant powers? Season 2 vampire powers? Take the coolest ones, rebalance them as legendary gems, and make them drop from malignant elites in Torment 8. Suddenly you have new build options to chase. Torment 9 and 10. These are aspirational tiers. Not every build reaches these, but if you do, you get prestige rewards. Maybe defeating all lair bosses on Torment 10 gives you exclusive wings for the season or permanently unlocks a cosmetic. Give players something to chase at the absolute peak. Item power progression. Here's another idea that ties into More Torments. Bring back item power scaling at Endgame. Right now, all ancestral items drop at the same item power once you're in Torment difficulties. This was changed from launch because it made loot sorting easier. You didn't have to worry about whether an item was 750 or 780 power, you just looked at affixes. But it also made loot bland, like there's no sense of progression. Every item is the same power level. Finding loot in Torment 4 feels the same as Torment 1. What if item power scaled with Torments again? Not drastically, but enough to matter. Torment 1 drops items from 700 to 710 power. Torment 2 drops 700 to 720. Torment 3 drops 700 to 730. All the way up to Torment 10 dropping 700 to 800. This creates a natural loot progression. Higher Torments drop better base items. Affixes could scale slightly higher at higher item power. Maybe certain powerful affixes only roll on 750 plus items, which means you need to push to at least Torment 5 to even see them. The concern with this system is loot sorting complexity, but if Blizzard adds loot filters, which they've hinted at with future crafting changes, this problem disappears. You set your loot filter to only show items above a certain power level or with specific affixes. Problem solved. And suddenly, loot progression is interesting again. You're not just looking for greater affixes, you're also pushing higher torments to access higher base item power and better affix pools. Reward scaling and incentives. Right now, the rewards for jumping to the next torment are barely noticeable. The difficulty spikes 10 times, but rewards go up maybe 10% to 20%. That's not proportional. Why would you push to Torment 4 and struggle when you can comfortably farm Torment 3 for nearly the same rewards? With more torments and smoother scaling, reward progression can also be smoother and more meaningful. Each torment gives you noticeably more gold, more XP, better greater affix chances, higher material drops. It's not a massive spike, but it's consistent and meaningful. This also applies to pit scaling. Right now, each pit tier increases difficulty by roughly 20%. That's huge. With more torments and adjusted scaling, maybe each pit tier is 5% or 8% harder instead. That's way more approachable. You can push a few tiers higher, more consistently instead of hitting walls. And maybe there's a farming meta where you intentionally farm a pit tier that's slightly slower but gives better rewards. Right now, speed is everything. But if slower, higher tier content gives significantly better XP and loot, suddenly there's strategic choice involved. Build, diversity, and the speed meta. This is the big one. More Torments with proper reward scaling could finally break the speed meta that's dominated Diablo 4 since launch. Right now, if you can't one-shot screens and teleport across the map, your build doesn't matter. Double Swing Barbarian? Useless. Twisting Blades Rogue? Dead. Spear Sorcerer? Why bother? The only builds that matter are builds that clear Torment 4 content at maximum speed. But what if Double Swing Barbarian can push to Torment 7 while Teleport Sorcerer caps at Torment 5? Suddenly Double Swing has a purpose. It's slower, but it can access higher tier content with better rewards. Twisting Blades Rogue might be amazing at Torment 6 with its single target damage and survivability, even though it's not fast. This is how you create build diversity. You don't make every build the same speed. You create a difficulty curve where different builds find their optimal tier, and that tier is rewarding enough to be worth playing. Progression and player experience. One of the biggest issues right now is that players hit level 60 and get overwhelmed. You finish the campaign or hit max level, and suddenly there are 10 different endgame systems in your face. Helltide, Pit, Nightmare Dungeons, Undercity, Dark Citadel, World Bosses, Lair Bosses, Whispers, Tower, Seasonal Mechanics. It's system overload. More Torments with gated content solves this. You unlock systems gradually as you progress. Torment 1 has the basics. Torment 2 adds Dark Citadel. Torment 3 adds Nightmare Escalation, and so on. By the time you're in Torment 5 or 6, you've learned each system one at a time instead of being thrown into the deep end. This is especially important for new players and returning players. The current system is overwhelming. A smoother gated progression would be way more welcoming, and it creates those dopamine spike moments. I just hit Torment 5, now I can do Tower. I just unlocked Torment 6, now I can fight Belial. Those milestone moments are completely missing from Diablo 4 right now. There's no excitement about reaching the next tier because there's no meaningful difference. That's my full breakdown of what More Torments could mean for Diablo 4. Right now, the system is broken. 4 massive difficulty spikes, a plateau at Torment 4, and a speed meta that kills build diversity. More Torments with smoother scaling, gated content unlocks, item power progression, and meaningful rewards could genuinely fix these problems and give the game actual endgame progression. This is all brainstorming based on dev hints. None of this is confirmed, but I think the potential is huge. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What would you want to see with More Torments? Would you support item power scaling again? Should content be gated by Torment tiers? Drop your ideas below. If this video got you thinking about Diablo's future, leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.